All right, so yes. All right, so once again, good afternoon, everyone. Yes, you can't do me so bad, man. So let me acknowledge my wonderful, exciting, dynamic, Honorable Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport. And then our keynote speaker, Mr. Ivan Berry. Right, we have the Artists Guild of St. Maarten, Miss 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓 and Mr. Alston Lawrence. The luminaries, the heartbeat of the cultural creative industry of St. Maarten, yourselves. Mic check once. Check, check. Isn't yours? success truly derived from the cultural traditions and artistic expressions of a people. The four main sectors that distinguish the economy are the arts, heritage, creative services, and media. And they're born out of talents, intellectual property, interconnectedness, and cultural heritage experienced through a variety of cultural sectors. So here goes, because whenever I have this conversation, people think it's about song and dance, and there where it's end. However, it includes architecture, audiovisual industry, communications and advertising, cultural heritage, design, fashion, music, new media, performing arts, publishing, and visual arts. So the objectives of bringing you guys together is to take stock of where we are, have forums, workshops, activities that encourage the creative community to be the leaders, and that's you, to be the leaders of this ship. So we started first in 2018, and we started with an amazing forum that was like all day long. But since then we've brought it down smaller to make it more effective. We had a great keynote speaker from Aruba, Mr. Ryan Peterson, the General Manager of Economic Policy at the Central Bank of Aruba, who alerted us about trying to identify yourself and see yourselves reflected in the numbers of your country, so as the GDP. Make sure you are recognized there. We had panel discussion with Lisa Harding from Barbados, who is also the coordinator for micro, small, and medium enterprise development from the Caribbean Development Bank in Barbados. And she was in bringing us up to date with investment opportunities being created for the creatives. Let's see, we also on that day established something called a cultural prize for a young person, for the youth. And that was won by a young girl called 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓. In addition to that, we were mandated by the 150 persons that came to that first Artist Guild Forum to do two things. One, to create some kind of artist registry, Artist Guild. So that became the Artist Guild of St. Maarten. And also a prize awarding ceremony, and that became the Sage Award. And since then, the Sage Award has awarded about 48 awards to different stalwarts of the St. Maarten cultural creative industry. So then came the formation of the Artist Guild. So we had 150 people that came together. Right away, we said, okay, who wants to be part of the Artist Guild? 30 persons raised their hands. Out of that 37 persons decided to postulate themselves. Out of that 7, we were down to 3. And of them, 2 of them are here today. So we have an Artist Guild, and today we're gonna elevate we have a Sage Award, and we also now have the Artist Guild that we're gonna move up to the next level. All right. That was in 2019, we held a general meeting because we had first that big introduction, and we kind of followed up with a general meeting. And we brought people here to kind of express and explain how the Department of Culture works. Because too often we have people calling us on Monday for an event on Friday, and they want to get funding immediately. So we had to introduce them to the function of government and the process. So we introduced how you request subsidies. We also explored an apprenticeship program, and that was challenged by the fact that because of a culture create industry being very outside of the scope of 9 to 5, we had challenges to observe the labor laws. How do we get young people become apprentices, say for instance with 𝒚𝒐𝒖𝒓, who has a 1 o'clock gig and getting kids home. So we're still navigating that universe, but we had quite a few takers. We even had people who are willing to teach, renovation skills, like a gamut of industry people came together and were willing, pub artists, but we cannot jump into that right now. In 2020, in January, we organized a very early session to speak to parents and students to alert them how to create their educational trajectory, to start looking at what CXC courses or whatever classes that are creative that they can align themselves to start being possible to get into universities. 2021 brought the cancellation because of our dear friend, Mr. COVID. Yeah. So that brought everything to a standstill. But that provided me unlimited time to dig deep into the world of culture, creative industry, and orange economy, where I came across a wonderful gentleman from Estonia called Ragnar Sill. We brought him to St. Maarten. And his presentation, we brought him for 2 events, both the Cultural Creative Industry Forum as well as the Smile of the University. And his takeaway was he shared with us that how you can draw from heritage to propel the economy forward, from the cultural creative industries. And they introduced to us that Estonia have this complete digital world, and you can do this citizens by investment and how to diversify the tourism product. In 2023, we brought 𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏𝒈𝒕𝒉. If you ever see this book called the PDF, Orange Economy, Infinite Opportunities, please download this PDF. It's a must read. If you're trying to understand what this world is about, this is your entry level point. It talks all about how this economy is working. As a matter of fact, do we have that other big page of him? This is what it looks like. We are so at this level right now, but this is the whole scope of all the various elements of what goes into what it creates, what it takes to create this industry. Let's go to Erica Smith. Erica Smith from Barbados, who is a intellectual property professional, introduced us to the idea of protection. And I want to talk about it really, really super fast, because everything that we do culturally, creatively, comes from our lived experience. So in 1996, I remember watching the opening ceremony of the Olympics, and there was these big billowing dancers, like these, 50 feet high. And I read up on that article, and it turns out that the creator was Peter Minshall. Anybody know the name Peter Minshall? The god of Caribbean theater, carnival, costume design. So here's the story. In producing that opening ceremony, Peter Minshall created a very interesting innovation about how to create those things. He was told then at the time, you need to copyright this right now. But he was so caught up in it that he moved on. So what ended up happening was that dolly you see flying around the whole, every car park, advertisement, that was drawn from our Caribbean heritage, from the 2 stilt walkers. So because he didn't copyright it, somebody else did, and he lost out on that. So that lecture, and there's a lot of things I could tell you about the Lulu dolls. Who know about the Lulu dolls in St. Maarten? Created by Esther Narcisco. Before she locked it down, it was all over Front Street. You understand? So as you create, protect, and that's where that lecture came in. And I see Ms. Sanderford here from the Bureau of Intellectual Property. So make sure for the youth songwriters and who are creating, make sure you connect with BIP, the Bureau of Intellectual Property here in St. Maarten. So make sure you schedule that. So that was 2022, Ragnar Sill. No, 2023, 𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏𝒈𝒕𝒉, Erica Smith. And then we brought in Mr. Keith Nurse. And he also gave us strategies for the development of the culture creative industries, talking about festival brand. And this is another fun story. I read a couple of in a while back doing all this research that Nigeria have this big carnival thing, right? Big, but they didn't call it carnival. They call it the biggest African street festival. But they came to the Caribbean, spent a lot of time watching our carnival, and decided they're going to copy the costume, the band, the this, and took this big festival. So carnival is ours, like how we make it, but right now, other people are digging in and saying, okay, so we have to be very alert about what we're creating and how we're creating it and how we're not protecting it. Finally, 2024, we had another general meeting with Emerald Blum, because funding is a big thing for St. Maarten. The 3 big funding agencies in St. Maarten were barbecues, bake sales, Telem, the airport, and the harbor, and government. All right? So we spent time, we had a wonderful young gentleman who lives by writing grants, and he came and explained to us, no, this is the process. So the whole idea is, in order for you to move forward, you can't keep coming to us, okay? But it means that you have to plan ahead, you have to organize yourself, there's a grant writer right here. Arvin, stand up, let me give you a big plug in. He's a grant writer. Find him, help you write so you can get your projects. And then it makes you, again, to organize and plan yourself. So, my spiel is done. Just to give you a quick background of where we started and where we are and where we're going. And with that, without further ado, I'm going to bring up our dynamic Minister of ECYS. Please put your hands together for the Minister of Education, Culture, Youth, and Sport.
Thank you, Clara, for the very nice descriptors. Dynamic. Well, it's just because I'm younger, right? Than what you're used to. I get it. Good evening, distinguished guests, industry leaders, creative innovators. It's with much enthusiasm and pride that I actually stand before you today as we embark on a truly exciting journey, or continue a journey that has been not without its pitfalls and challenges, but at the end of the day, we are here. If there's one thing that I have always learned from those in our creative industry, especially from Clara, it's that no matter what, we persevere and we always manage to have the show go on. And I think that's the most critical thing to remember. The team chosen for this year's forum is Artist Development on St. Maarten Level Up, which I love because as a gamer, the one creative area that I know everything about, because I'm not a singer or a dancer, I do appreciate that theme. And I think that for me, as Minister of ECYS, it is also imperative for us to level up in all those areas. Creative arts, this industry supports education, it supports culture, it supports our youth. And it also supports our sports, because who designs uniforms? Fashion designers. So the nice posters that we see of our athletes, all of that. So it's all intertwined for me. It's a showcase of our rich history, our diversity of our people, and the vibrancy in our expressions, our music, our art, our literature, fashion, dance, our culinary traditions. All of this resonates not only on our island, but across the Caribbean and internationally. From the pulsing beats that we have to the colorful artistry that fills our stages, St. Maarten has always been a place where creativity knows no bounds, even if it has known very serious challenges. So this forum for me represents more than just a gathering. It's actually a testament to the untapped potential of our creative economy, but also to the very often, unfortunately, unrecognized and untapped potential of all of you in this room. It's an opportunity for us to share, collaborate, and forge connections that will propel our creative industry to new heights. So today, as we come together to discuss and explore the dynamic possibilities of this sector, from the digital revolution that reshapes art, music, and entertainment, to the vital importance of protecting and promoting our cultural heritage. We've gathered here now to exchange ideas, challenge existing paradigms, and explore innovative solutions that can help this industry thrive and flourish in an increasingly modern world. I really dislike the word resilience, so I'm not going to use that word. But for me, St. Maarten has always been a land of reimagination, of reinvention, and evolution. And that is what I most hope to see come out of this forum and future ones. Our culture and our creativity are powerful tools in shaping our future. By embracing new technologies, fostering cross-regional collaborations, and empowering you, our artists and creators, I do believe we can build a sustainable, thriving creative economy that not only benefits our people, but also attracts the world's attention to our unique story and talent. It's also my pleasure and honor to have in our midst our keynote speaker for today, Mr. Ivan Berry. Mr. Berry has a wealth of knowledge and experience as an entrepreneur, consultant, artist manager, record label owner. I think the resume is as long as a CVS receipt for those who get it. You know what I'm talking about. But I'm truly honored to have him here with us today to share his insights and inspire us as we continue to navigate the future of St. Maarten's creative economy. So as we go forward with the discussions, I encourage everybody to think boldly. I don't have to tell you, I think, but I know we're all tired, as Clara pointed out earlier. So think boldly and creatively. Let us build those partnerships that go beyond our borders, champion our voices on a global stage, and most importantly, and you have my entire support, as you know, to continue to invest in the next generation of creative leaders from St. Maarten. Thank you for being here today. Your presence means everything. It means we continue to reimagine, to evolve, and to grow. And thank you for your commitment to ensuring that St. Maarten's creative industry remains a source of pride and prosperity. So we have the opportunity here to create a lasting impact that will resonate for generations to come. Let's make it a transformative experience for all of us. And thank you.
Okay, so it says on the next program, Let's Talk Art, right? Okay, so this is a young group of people that got together because they saw a need, obviously, to help create a platform that celebrates the St. Maarten creative industry and creatives and the artists. So without further ado, let's invite to the stage the two co-founders, 𝒍𝒍𝒐𝒘 and Naomi Korstania, to share their platform, how they serve, and again, another medium to enrich ourselves.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for having us. We're really happy to be here on behalf of Let's Talk Art. And I always like to say the Let's Talk Art family because I think Let's Talk Art is more than just the three co-founders. It's really been inspired by a lot of you that are sitting in this room. I see some of you here. So shout out to the Let's Talk Art family because, you know, we come from a family of a lot of creativity, and creatives are ourselves in different ways. So I might not be a dancer or a pianist or a songwriter, but there's a lot of creativity in us, even though some of us, like myself, sometimes hide it behind closed doors. And as well as Senji. So this is Let's Talk Art, and we started in 2023. Maybe you can go to the next slide, so I can just also introduce ourselves really quickly. So it was founded by myself, Daryl York, and Senji 𝒕𝒉𝒆𝒏𝒈𝒕𝒉, and it literally just started off of, next slide, us indeed, what Clara Reyes said, finding a gap in the community of St. Maarten. I think after coming back to St. Maarten, we just are constantly reminded of how much talent there is or how much potential we have. And I don't only like to talk about potential without seeing what we can do and look for solutions and how we can bring persons together. So we like to create spaces on Let's Talk Art platform, the project, where we have various dialogues and growth opportunities for you and us within the community. And we want to see how we can utilize workshops and events like our series called Let's Talk Art and different mediums to bring you guys together so that we can not only keep our wonderful talent in-house, but really expand to what we're doing within the Caribbean region and internationally. So I'm not sure. Can you go back to the slide before that, please? If I missed something. Yes. So we are not here as a platform like the Guild, for example, but we want to see how we can work and collaborate with you to see where those gaps is, to have those brainstorm sessions, to network, to figure out how we can push each other, I would say challenge each other to get the best out of ourselves and make us more professional. And I think in the almost year and a half, 2 years that we've been starting, you see that wave of wanting to push and bring that drive to the creative industry, and our orange economy has really been like getting warmer. So I look forward to all that we can do with Let's Talk Art with your help, with your support. And then, so really identifying Let's Talk Art a bit more with your input. Yes. And this is some of the accomplishments and activities we've started, just to give you guys a little indication for the ones that don't know Let's Talk Art. We started off with a launch where we went to Inspired Selfie, thank you, where the idea was to literally talk about some of the bottlenecks, because you often hear persons complaining, but you never see artists really come together to have that dialogue. And it was super interesting. And one of the things that stood out from all the artists that were there, so we had Azila Duzan, we had Dr. Ram, we had Cameron Hyman, and just to name a few. And it was interesting that in all the discussions that they had, they never stood still and actually went to each other and say, like, hey, are you also experiencing, this bottleneck? And that was a way where we were like, this is really something we have to do, because obviously we're talking amongst ourselves on social media, or we're screening